Hi everybody, my name's Joe K. It's just another day in the underground, and today I have some pretty interesting news coming out of the Strange Music camp. For those of you that have been paying attention over the last year, there's been a lot of movement going on over at Strange Music. There was also an album that dropped late 2021 from the man N9NE himself. It was called Asin9ne. A lot of people loved that album. There were a lot of good quality tracks on that album, some great features as well. And you have to, of course, follow that with the tour. So in 2022, N9NE's going on the Asin9ne tour, and he's bringing a couple of his friends with him. On the flyer for the tour, our special guest, Joey Cool, X-Rated, and Mayday. When you may be wondering, where the heck are some of the other key players in all this? You have to remember that the roster over the last year has changed. And over the last year, some of the artists that have been on the label have continued to grow their fan bases, and I have a feeling are going to continue to do shows that may not necessarily align with the tour, and so they couldn't go on tour with N9NE officially. That doesn't mean that we won't have some additional guests at certain stops along the tour. That's what we're going to be talking about today, because that's where this gets really interesting. There is one show in particular that I want to make sure we talk about that hasn't been announced yet, but we're going to hear it here first. N9NE is going to be in Tennessee on May 29th at the Concourse. At that particular show and at that particular stop on his tour, we are going to have a couple of potential guests. The date is a little far out there, so it's subject to change. That's probably why it hasn't been released yet, because anytime you have a tour of this magnitude, there are reschedulings and conflicts and people that, have another conflict at that time that for whatever reason don't end up showing up, and they don't find out until maybe a couple weeks or a month before the tour. And so usually these announcements are held on to until a little bit closer to the date. So again, subject to change. This is some speculation and some rumors that I have been hearing from pretty reliable sources. But let's talk about who's on this tour in Nashville, May 29th, 2022. You're going to have N9NE. You're going to have X-Rated. You're going to have Joey Cool. You're going to have Mayday. I'm hearing you're also going to have King Iso. That's a big bonus. I'm also hearing you're going to have Rittz. That would be a big bonus. And last but certainly not least, we are going to have a reuniting of N9NE and none other than KRIZZ KALIKO joining the show. If that is not a freaking stacked lineup, I don't know what is. I hope to God that show has zero opener. Like, I hope there's no local talent needed in that show. I'm sorry, Tennessee, but there's no local talent needed. You have all that you need at that show already with that crew. If every single one of those guys show up, you don't need anybody else. Because all those guys have great catalogs of music. They have long catalogs of music, and they can carry an entire... God, you could have a 5-6 hour set with those guys. If this actually happens, I gotta applaud Strange Music for putting this together. Whoever coordinated this crap, that show in particular is probably going to be one of the best shows on the tour. I'm calling it right now. If all of those people actually end up showing up, that will be the best date on the entire tour. Now, again, this is all that I know, right? This is all that I've been hearing. I don't know what else they got in store, but maybe there's some other dates on that tour that have some other guests coming. Will we get Snow the Product to come and do her song from the album on the tour too? I don't know. But I'm excited to see what happens this year. I think that's going to be one of the highlights of the tour. Keep your eyes peeled for the announcement. You're hearing it here first. Don't tell anybody. We are going to have some additional news coming as well, because I hope you haven't forgotten another Strange Music artist who recently left the label, because he is also going to be dropping some music this year. A couple albums with a another former Strange Music artist. We're going to talk more about that in a future episode here, but for now, again, just to recap, N9NE, Tennessee, the Concourse with our man KRIZZ KALIKO, possibly also King Iso and Rittz. Banger of a show. Make sure you get your tickets. Joe K gets 10% of all ticket sales. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name's Joe K. It's just another day in the underground.